everybody, welcome to the penultimate round of Season 10 for VSL F1. This is Tier 1 on the PlayStation, and we could see a champion being crowned tonight if the gap stays 35 points or more coming into the end of tonight. My name is Jess Ball, and joining me for the penultimate time this season, we've got Aiden again. Aiden, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Yeah, looking forward to what could be a championship deciding round tonight here at the Circuit of the Americas. It's definitely going to be a very interesting round. It's been a season-long battle between the two Williams cars, and it remains that way as we head into the penultimate round. So, yeah, it could be a very exciting night here for Twisted to be able to come out on top.
Mathematically, no one else can win the title. It's only the two Williams drivers as well. Basically, the gap now is 41 points over between Twisted and Cam. So basically, if Twisted outscores Cam, he is champion, and no question about it. But Cam will need to finish 8th or higher tonight, with Twisted DNFing, obviously, to become champion. Otherwise, things could get difficult. We will work out the maths as we go through. But last week, we were at Monaco. We saw Finley took a dominant victory as well. I think the Alpines did very well generally on that day. But Finley just had the pace all weekend, really. No mistakes either. He kept his win as well. And I think he was like a Monaco merchant, it looks like. Let's hope it may continue into tonight.
Yeah, fingers crossed for him that it does. He's had a bit of good momentum recently. I think he finished in the round prior in the sprint race. He had some decent runs. He had some decent pace there in the sprint round beforehand. I believe at Monza, I think, if I remember correctly. And yeah, brilliant result in Monaco last time out. You always see that kind of result in Monaco, don't you? There's always one Monaco specialist out there, and it was definitely Finley last week. He absolutely dominated the race. It was a brilliant performance by him. So hopefully for his sake, he can carry some of that momentum forward. And of course, for him, championship-wise, it could be good for him as well. He's just jumped inside the top 10 in the points now after that win last time out. So, and there's plenty of opportunity for him to gain a few more places to get higher up inside the top 10. So, yeah, all still to play for Finley to get potentially a top 5 in this championship standings if all goes his way in these last two rounds.
Yeah, it is quite close, not gonna lie as well. Other people can make mistakes. We only have 9 drivers here tonight, which is not ideal. Hopefully we'll have one joining during qualifying, but enough bad things aside, we've got some racing to take place around the Circuit of the Americas. One of my favourite tracks to commentate on, believe it or not. It was first built, started building, construction began properly in 2011. It began again in January 2012 as well. And then that's when obviously the Circuit of the Americas came to Formula 1. We saw Lewis Hamilton won that one as well. Elevation change around 40 metres long, one of the highest of the season, and obviously turn 1 is an unusual uphill, which is used in most other circuits as well. So that's a little bit of information about the circuit, and we could see quite a few invalidations at the moment, just like we've seen with Cam, naughty boy, going through the Istanbul type section. Now, bearing in mind, this track was designed with many corners in mind, similar to other circuits. Obviously, Herman Tilt wants us to be reminded on a few things, and that's what they wanted 16 to be as well. But would have been a 1:33.6 for Cam, so not good at all. But Twisted pole at the moment, 1:33.2, next across the line. We've got an Alfa Romeo, waits he up to the line. He's going to start his lap as well. Very interesting as well, because USA, it's starting to bring its popularity into the sport. We had Miami open its doors last season in real life. And of course, we've got Las Vegas at the end of this year as well. So we've got 3 USA tracks on the F1 calendar in real life, and the USA driver as well. It is really taken off.
Yeah, it's really taken off in the States as of recently as Formula 1. You've got to think back to kind of when Cota first came back into the sport, when America came back into the sport with the Circuit of the Americas back in 2012, and how little presence the Formula 1 had in the States at the time. It's completely blown up, and now in track attendance and viewing attendance, it's probably one of the biggest races of the year now is the Circuit of the Americas. It is a huge race, and yeah, like you say, we've had Miami open its doors, Las Vegas is opening its doors this year, and if the rumours are to be believed, by the time we get to 2030, we could have 5 US races on the calendar. There's already rumours for one race, I believe, in New York, and then another race in another West Coast state. So there's a lot of potential new races coming in 2030. I think if the rumours are correct, we potentially may have a 30-race calendar in 2030.
Oh, which, God, no.
Yeah, I'm not liking the sound of that. It's almost getting too Americanized in that we're now following kind of NASCAR's lead with the 36 race calendar season that NASCAR have, but that's fine for them because that's all within the states. They can all travel from one place to another within a day. So, yeah, it's potentially going to get very busy on the calendar. We've gone from potentially within the space of 20 years, within the space of 18 years, we could go from one US race to 5 US races and having the most races in any country being in the United States of America. So yeah, it's definitely blown up big time, and I think obviously things like Drive to Survive and all that have helped massively in the blow up of popularity in the States for the sport. So I'm glad that it's definitely growing. The US market was missed, I think, from Formula One for a long time. I just wish that they would go back to the Indianapolis circuit because I absolutely adore that circuit.
Who remembers Indy 2005, where we saw 6 cars take the start because obviously due to the tyre situation as well, there was going to be legal action for people that didn't start on purpose as well, but it got some drivers a lot of points as well. And believe it or not, the United States Grand Prix, it dated back to even before F1 existed, 1900s. Obviously, we got Texas, as we know today. Obviously, Miami, Las Vegas, we talked about. They ran in Long Island in New York, Savannah in Georgia as well. Obviously, the Indianapolis 500, which was a part of the Formula One calendar, believe it or not, at one point before they dropped it. And it was one of the inaugural races during the first 11 years of the championship. It was around 1950 to 1960. Then it was Watkins Glen, which was hosted United States Grand Prix 1961 to 80. Obviously, Long Beach as well hosted a few races. I think it was the United States Grand Prix West race. I don't know why they called it the other way around, but anyway, 1975 to 83. Las Vegas actually hosted the Grand Prix. I'm not sure if it's going to be the same place before. 1981 to 1984. Detroit Grand Prix, 1982 to 1988. And then there was one in Phoenix, 1989. And then, obviously, no US Grand Prix for 10 years. Then we went to Indy. Then chaos happened, and the last US race was in 2007 before we were back in 2012. So that's a little bit of a history for you in terms of United States Grand Prix, as people took good timing. I'm just about to start her laps. Twisted has no pressure tonight because no matter what happens, he's still going to be the championship leader, whether he wins the championship or not. But sometimes complacency may hit a driver and it may not help him. I've seen in other leagues people coming from lower down to win the championship, so anything can happen in Formula One. As Twist is about to start his lap now, and this is, I think, set in the evening on the game, isn't it? So I think the sun is going to be quite difficult for the drivers to navigate.
Yeah, definitely going to be difficult. There's quite a lot of low sun around the Circuit of the Americas in qualifying, because qualifying, I believe, in real life in the Circuit of the Americas takes place at 5 p.m, so it's quite a late qualifying session in comparison to other ones we have, especially in the European calendar. So yeah, and we know that the sunlight in this game isn't particularly great. It's not probably representative of what sun actually does in real life, so it's incredibly bright. I'm on board with the Matter at the moment, who's going down the back straight, and he is being blinded by an eternal sun right in front of him on the back straight. So yeah, not great in qualifying, but in the race it is different conditions that they won't have to face, so that is at least something that they only have to worry about in this qualifying session. And it's really only a problem down the back straight. Every other place on the track is either sheltered by grandstands and buildings, or you're going around a corner, so you're not facing the sun directly for that long. So it can be a bit of annoyance, but it's not really that much of an issue, as I'm just trying to see other people's lap times. Twisted was slower in the first sector and then invalidated, so he's not going to be improving on his time. Finley's starting another run. Casper has invalidated in the first sector. Matter's going on a longer run at the moment, which is why his time's a little bit off the pace. He's getting some race laps in. Cam is on a run at the moment. No time on the board. We'll see what he can do. Obviously, he's the only other person in contention for this title this season, along with his teammate. So Cam's got to try and beat Twisted as convincing as he can tonight, and hope that Twisted has a really bad round to stand any chance going into the sprint round in Brazil for the final round of the season. And Cam's invalidated on the inside of the penultimate corner, which is very, very easy to do, but it's also a bit frustrating right at the end of the lap that Cam is invalidated on the inside. So his lap time is over and done with. Jewin is the next one on a lap at the moment in the AlphaTauri. He's had a good run of form as of recently. He picked up a second place, not a second place. He picked up 20 points back in the sprint round 2 rounds ago. He's had a a good run of form. So we'll see what he can do, whether he can continue that momentum on and get inside the top 5 in the championship as Doohan crosses the line. And it's only P6 for the time being, a 34.5. And obviously, with there being a lot less drivers tonight, unfortunately, we are going to see a bit of a bigger field spread in qualifying, because most of the drivers here are pretty spread apart in pace usually anyway. So a bit of a big field spread, and it's definitely telling at the moment that it's 1.3 seconds between the first 6 cars.
Yes, that is a good point actually as well, because even though it's the top division, there's people that are in the top of the championship in the mid-pack as well, and people near the bottom as well that haven't got their season to a good start. I have to say, looking at the stewards report from last week, there was instances that Tech 31 Racing got away with quite a few things as well, but he didn't get off lightly on a few other things as well, as Alpha had an incident with Twisted, and it was a lack of racing respect and racecraft for him. He's got 5 seconds for penalty for that, and luckily, since he was near the back anyway, it didn't affect his position. And it was lucky that he didn't get a quali ban, but he got quite a lot of penalty points to his licence, and if you get too many penalty points on your licence, then you can potentially get a quali ban or even a race ban or even a season ban if it's way too severe. So Tech needs to watch out tonight, but we'll see what he can do. Here comes Waits in the Alfa Romeo car as he heads towards turn 16 right now, quoting P11 in the championship. Only scored 4 points last week. Maybe he can score a bit higher with less people turning up, of course, today. Don't forget, in VSL, top 12 do score points with an extra 2 points for fastest lap. Waitsy goes P2. Not a bad lap.
Yeah, not a bad lap there from Waitsy at all. He's struggled quite a bit for raw paces, Waitsy, this season. He's not had a great season so far. So, yeah, putting it on the provisional front row is a good lap so far from him. And just trying to see if anybody else is on a lap as well. Matter is still going on his incredibly long run on this lap at the moment. Cam is also just coming around to start his next one in the session. So, yeah, good lap on the board there from Waitsy. GMAC right up there, of course, as well with P3. GMAC's had a good season so far as well. He currently sits 9th in the standings and has had a good run of form as of recently. He picked up, I believe, in the last time out, a 5th place finish last time out in Monaco. So GMAC, another one that's on a good run at the moment, trying to get some more points and more places in this championship in the Mercedes. I don't think he's on a particularly fast lap at the moment. He is just backing off on this lap. So this isn't a fast lap from GMAC. He will be coming back into the pit lane and getting ready for his final run. So I think we've got Cam, who's going to have the track pretty much all to himself.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it, for Cam? I think this will be more ideal for him as he wants to make sure he's still in championship contention by the end of tonight. To be fair, though, he's going to hope for Twisted to do horrible things, because I think that's the only way that Cam's still going to be in the championship fight, not going to lie. But Twisted has not had it go all his own ways, even though he's had quite a few wins and podiums this season. He's had 1 DNF and disconnect, and he only scored 2 points last week. So if Cam gets a good result tonight, he could definitely be back in this championship fight as he heads towards... I'm trying to remember the corner name if I can get the track map. For some reason, I forgot to put the track map. There we go, past turn 12 and heading towards the long right hand of 13 and 14. Treat as one turn and heading towards 15 and 16. The same thing as well. And don't forget, this was the track back in, I think it was around about 2018. We saw Kimi take his last Formula 1 win, and it was ending his 114 race win streak. Drought, and scoring a popular victory. I think I remember I was a Lewis Hamilton fan back at the time, and I was cheering Kimi on because I wanted someone different to win. I think that's when I started to appreciate the drivers a bit more, and I was like, actually, I want more drivers to win races now, as Casper has had a spin on the back straight of turn 10 and 11 there, and that's not going to help with the sun being very blindy at the moment. Cam, by the way, has aborted, so he's not going to do another run. And that just leaves Tech at the moment on outlaps, as well as Finley and Ewan and I think Matter as well. So those people are on outlaps. We are about to head into the latter stages of qualifying for the penultimate time of the season. This is the last short qualifying of the season, by the way, because next week we're going to go to the final sprint weekend of the season in Brazil. So... Last chance for people to get some proper runs in before they're under more pressure next week.
Yeah, definitely a last opportunity for these drivers to enjoy this kind of qualifying session, because I think it's famously known that people don't enjoy one-shot qualifyings. They are pretty difficult to manage. Of course, you don't get obviously to get to go again if you do make a mistake. So it's very it can be very tricky, and we've had obviously one-shot qualifyings this season at tracks like Budapest where track position is key. So it can be very difficult, those one-shot qualifying sessions. So that'll be difficult next time out in the final round of the season. So hopefully some of these drivers are enjoying their last proper quali of the season. As the first driver on a lap at the moment is Dew, and he is currently going through the second sector. He's slightly up in the first sector of the lap, but it's not really a fast first sector for Dew, and he's about 2.5 tenths off the fastest that we've seen so far through that first part of the lap. So we'll see Dew through the middle part of the lap, see what he can do. Maybe his car's maybe set up a bit more for a straight line speed rather than the cornering aspect that you need in the first half of the lap. So as he comes down the back straight, then getting ready to brake for turn number 12, we'll see what the AlphaTauri driver can do as he hits the brakes, then into the hairpin, uses the curb on the inside line, runs up to the second sector split, and Dewan is now only a 1/10.5 up. So at the moment, that's not going to gain him any places. It's looking not particularly strong tonight from Dewan race quali pace wise. He doesn't look particularly fast through that final sector now, as he's going to come through this long final sector through this triple right-hander, as he said earlier on, very reminiscent of the Istanbul circuit, just in the opposite direction, and it's off camber rather than on camber, and then into the final two corners. He goes then through the penultimate corner, nice and neat and tidy there. Make sure that you don't take too much curb on the right-hand side before you hit the braking zone, and then up towards the line. Dewan crosses the line. He goes P4 in the end on a 34 flat, but that is still 8/10 of a second off the fastest time that we've seen so far.
Yes, I had to go off-board there because there was too many parts of the track which is blinded by the sun. So the off-board shot was, I think, a lot better there, luckily, as well. And other interesting points to know about this track as well. We talked about, obviously, Istanbul and the differences there as well. Another part of the circuit, the S's, is reminiscent of the Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel section in Silverstone. And also the S's in Japan as well, but obviously more people know it as the Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel complex as well. So yeah, that's the other thing, as checker flag has dropped. Cam is not going to set a lap time. He has invalidated his lap as a checker flag has dropped. Tech, no time on the board for him, so he's going to start at the back of the grid. We've got Mercedes up to the line. That is GMAT. It's easy to tell this week, so I think everyone is running a different car this week, I think, apart from the two Williams. As GMAT goes across the line, and he doesn't improve, and he stays in third position. Ferrari up next. That is Mata. He saved a bit of sauce for the race, but will it pay off? Because there may not be safety cars with this small turnout. 1:34.2. He improves by 1.2 seconds, puts him in P6. And next across the line will be Twisted, our championship leader that could be champion tonight. Can he extend his advantage? Of course he can, by 0.3 of a second. Wait, he's going to come across the line as well. We've got Ewan as well, but I think he's not improving on his time, so it's Waitsy next. Can he get onto pole? Ooh, 11 thousandths quicker. He's still on the front row for now. Philly is invalidated, so that is it for qualifying. Twisted on pole, Waitsy in second, GMAT in third place. And Twisted is doing all he can at the moment to make sure the title goes to him, but is not won in qualifying. Don't forget, points are won in the race.
Yeah, Twisted doing what he's been doing all season long, which is being consistent and being at the front of the field once again in qualifying. So great qualifying from Twisted. But equally as well, considering the gaps in pace that we've got between the 7 drivers at set laps, in comparison to what we've seen from them so far this season, that is a great qualifying for both Waitsy and GMAC. They're usually a bit further down in qualifying when there's more drivers, but second and third ahead of some fast drivers with great raw speed is a good qualifying for them, and comfortably ahead as well. So Waitsy and GMAC, I'm sure, are going to be pretty happy with that result.
Yeah, so there is your order. We got Twisted, Waitsy, GMAT, Dewan, Finley, Massa, Casper, Cam, and Tet31 Racing. Those are your only drivers here tonight, but I'm sure they're going to put on a show. Anyway, we'll find out, obviously, what the race weather has in store for us as well. So, yes, we did briefly touch about the 2 championship protagonists, but we didn't talk about the others as well. Obviously, Jarhan's missing tonight. Mata could jump a few places as well. So can Casper, Dewan, and GMAT and Finley. So a lot of people in this top 10 tonight could change things quite a bit in this championship. And there's ones lower down, and that can gain potentially even more. Now, I did have the constructors saved somewhere. So as soon as I find that, I will get that open. So obviously it's looking like Williams could take the constructors. I think they have at the moment. 317 points to Mercedes 191, and G-Max on its own. So yeah, I think it's safe to say we can call Williams constructors champions. But it obviously depends how many points we got left. McLaren, Alpine's in third, 177. McLaren in fourth, 167. And we got Ferrari in fifth, AlphaTauri in sixth. No Red Bull drivers in seventh. We got Alfa Romeo in eighth, Aston Martin in ninth, and Haas in 10th. But Haas hasn't scored any points since round number 3 as well. But luckily, no rain. But usually wet weather seems to bring some great races in the past around here. But for the drivers at least we didn't have to worry about any wet weather madness yet.
Yeah, not yet at least. Hopefully it stays that way as well. But like you said, we both have commentated on some great wet races around Cota in the past. So yeah, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. But I think with only 9 drivers, I think we want a dry race. I think a wet race would spread the field out quite a bit, and we don't want that. We want the people racing as close as they can and racing against one another. So yeah, that'd be great to see. I think one thing to note about both championships, this championship would be incredibly close if Williams weren't here, wouldn't it? Because looking at the manufacturer's title, Mercedes, if you discount Williams, Mercedes are leading by 14 points over Alpine, and then Alpine are only 10 points ahead of McLaren, who are only 12 points ahead of Ferrari. So it's incredibly close in the manufacturer's title run for second position at the moment. Williams are just so far and comfortably clear of the rest of the field at the moment. And based on my quick maths in my head, I think Williams are already constructors champions coming into this round. I think by about 10 points. I think they've cleared the barrier to get the points. So I think they are constructors title winners. That's pretty much set in stone, and that looks set in stone really from round 1, didn't it? So yeah, great season for the Williams pairing. It's now just up to Twisted to see if he can win the title tonight.
And it'll be up to Cam to see if he can stop it from Twisted. But he's always been the bridesmaid and never the bride, Cam, to be honest, in terms of championships. But obviously, he started off well, and then he's been a bit of an up and down season for him as well. So, yes. And quite a few winners that happened in the past as well in terms of Grand Prix. Obviously, we had Lewis Hamilton, Kimi Raikkonen. Lewis Hamilton actually is the most successful driver at the US Grand Prix. No American driver has won the US Grand Prix when it was part of the World Championship, but Mario Andretti did win the one at Long Beach in 1977, and that was also the track in Indianapolis, by the way, 2007. A good old Seb Vettel made his F1 debut at Indianapolis, and that makes me want to cry because I like Sebastian Vettel. He's a great driver, and he's no longer in Formula 1 anymore, but yeah, it was in the Toro Rosso, and who would have thought that he would have gone on to win 4 World Championships and be one of the nicest drivers in the paddock. But anyway, there we go. Formation lap is on then for the drivers, and we've got, well, don't have a mixture of strategies like we've seen in other VSL races. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers on the hard. That's Twisted, Waitsy, GMAT, Ewan, Finlay, Cam and Tech31 Racing. And then we got Matta and Casper on the medium. Well, I said the top 5 on hards, Cam and Tech on hards, Matt and Casper on mediums. I thought I said mediums twice then, but yeah. I've seen both strategies work here on this game, where people start on the mediums and make it work, people start on the hards and make it work, but in VSL, it's usually the one that starts on the mediums that make it work. So watch out for Matta and Casper, even though Casper said to me earlier on in a DM that he's not looking forward to this track, but maybe he's just downplaying expectations.
Yeah, maybe trying to play sounds and expectations, like you say. But yeah, this track is quite a difficult one. Not a lot of people like driving this track. It can be pretty difficult on tyres. It's a track of compromise setup-wise between downforce and straight line speed, so you're never quite fully comfortable anywhere on the circuit. So it is definitely a driver's circuit. It's the circuit of the Americas. Just to throw a little bit more of a spanner in there after Monaco, we have a great wide open track, but it's still an incredibly difficult circuit to master. So Yeah, a lot of drivers don't like driving this track. I am one of them. I don't enjoy driving this track. I love commentating it though. It's always a great race, and I think the reason why we're seeing a lot of the front runners start on the hards, unlike usual in VSL, I think is just plain because there are less drivers here. There's less battles that are going to happen, and there's less opportunities to be held up in the early phases of the race, which will play into the hands of the hard runners. The more the hard runners get held up, the better that is for the medium runners. And with less cars here, that means that they've got less opportunity to be held up. So I think starting on the hards is probably a smart choice for Twisted. And for Twisted as well, it doesn't really matter what strategy he's on. His only focus tonight is beating Cam. He doesn't have to win. He could finish 8th and Cam finishes 9th and Twisted will win the title. So for Twisted, his only goal tonight is going to be beating his teammate.
Yeah, to be honest, Cam doesn't seem that fussed if he doesn't win the driver's title, really. He was focusing really on helping the constructors battle, but I think that's because if he approaches it that way, he's going to be under less pressure, which is what I like about him. But will we see a new champion crowned tonight, or will Cam take the fight to Brazil? Let's find out. Right, red lights on, and it is go, go, go here in Cota then. Twisted has got an almighty start. Waitsy keeping a hand of him as well, heading towards T1. GMAT trying to go for the move on Waitsy there. Down the hill they go, but he stays behind for now. Casper's up to 4th. Cam's had a good start as well, down the inside of Finley, up into P6 as well. Matter had an awful start. He's dropped down into 9th place. We got a spinner. That is Tep Bay 1 Racing that is spun on the S's.
Yeah, a bit of a... I don't know if there was any contact. I think there might have been a little bit of contact there with either Finley or Matter for him, but yeah, a little bit of contact as Cam works his way up into P5 past Dewan. Dewan's going to drop another place as well. Not a great start for the AlphaTauri team. They're struggling in the opening phases on these hards, but Dewan's going to try, come and try back down the inside of Finley at the next corner. Can he get the move done? Yes, he can. Finley runs a little bit over the curb and Dewan is back through and up into 6th position, so good recovery move there from the AlphaTauri driver. Great start from Casper on those medium compound tyres. He shot off the line. He had a brilliant start, was late on the brakes into turn 1, got the move done and up into 4th immediately, so he's doing what he needs to do on those medium compound tyres. Matter, unlike that though, struggled at the start, didn't get going and got swamped at the start and hasn't been able to make up the places after, so not a great start from the Ferrari. He's had a rough start to this race, unfortunately. So yeah, kind of tailored two stories for the two medium runners so far, but as they were in qualifying, and they are in the race, the top 3 are just starting to gap the field. But as I say that, Waitsy makes a mistake through the right-hander. Here comes GMAC side by side into the penultimate corner. Waitsy's going to have the inside line. That is the preferred line. GMAC almost thinking about the switchback on the inside, but he's not got the run out of the corner. He can't get the move done. He stays in 3rd for the time being, but that little mistake from Waitsy has put them quite a way behind Twisted in the lead of this race, and it's put Casper right on the back of them again. So Waitsy can't afford any more mistakes like that, especially since Waitsy is fighting, I think, for his first podium of the season, potentially.
Yes, and don't forget also as well, most of these races, the leader managed to pull away quite quickly, and this track is one of them. We've seen Finley pull the gap very quickly in Monaco, so we'll see how long it takes for Twisted to get, I think, over 2 or 3 seconds, but he's gonna hope there's no safety cars at this point, because that will ruin his race. But the ones on the medians may hope so as well. But again, it's not good for anything at the moment. As Cam goes for a move on Casper. So Cam's staying in 4th place. But DRS will be enabled on the next lap. We'll see if anyone's got the slipstream needed in the tow to get past any of the drivers to gain positions, as Casper 50% he's using at the moment just to try and stay within this DRS train coming up as well. Cam, I think, is going very, very quickly at the moment. He wants to get past Waitsy and GMAC. He's going to hope that those two make a mistake. I think Cam's one of the fastest drivers on circuit right now, apart from Twisted. I think if Cam had a better qualifying, I think the Williams would have run away into the distance up front. I did see a spinner. That is one of the AlphaTauris again, but it's the other AlphaTauri, it's Ewan. So Ewan's down to 8th place, so AlphaTauri 8th and 9th. Not what they want to almost wrap up their season, but luckily we've got no damage so far right now, as Waitsy tries to cover off from GMAT once again and break the toe, but that's probably not going to happen as GMAT goes down our right-hand side, and here he goes. Can he get the move? No, he can't, as Cam tries to capitalise on that and says, thank you very much. I'd dive it down the inside of both of you just before the S's section. What a move from Cam, and Waitsy has had a bit of an off, so I wonder if there was contact being made there.
Yeah, Waitsy just spun on the curb on the inside of turn 2. I think his tyres are hot. Oh, GMAT's crashed out. GMAC has crashed out at the end of the S section, and that is a full safety car. GMAC out of the race. Waitsy's spun as well. That, oh my word, what a crazy lap there, unfortunately, for the two drivers that were running second and third, had their best qualifyings of the season, and now they're both down at the back of the field. I think for GMAC there, he went for the move at turn 1, but he took such a shallow line through turn number 1 that he kind of missed the exit of the corner, ran so wide and couldn't get the power down. Waitsy had to go off the road to make sure that he still had any speed going on, that it wasn't coming to a complete stop, and Cam read it beautifully. Cam read the move beautifully. He knew that GMAC was going to go deep into the corner and take Waitsy with him. He just took the normal racing line, cut under the inside, and got a much better run out of the corner. So really smart racing there from Cam up into second place, and he'll be right on the back of his teammate now. So that safety car has brought Cam right back into play in this race.
A Williams 1-2. Who would have thought it at this stage? But to be honest, that's how we started the start of the season, and we thought it was going to be like this for the whole season. Luckily, it wasn't. We've had different winners in the past, and it'll be nice to get a recap of those winners. Obviously, we had Jinx won in round 1, 3, and 5. Cam obviously won the sprint in round number 2. And no, I think it was Jinx who won round number 4, not round number 5. We got Twisted that won the sprint in round number 5. Cam won in round number 6. Kieran ran in round number 7. So apart from Twisted, Jinx, and Cam, the only other different winners to won this season were Kieran and Finley. So those two are the uniqueness in that situation. Now we've got pitters. Now we've got Matter who pitted onto hards, Tech and Waity on the means. Now I've seen this done in another league. Around a different track, around pretty much the same continent. I did see people pit under an early safety car because they have 2 sets of mediums left, and it ended up working very well because they were able to catch on to the ones who've not pitted yet, and they were able to finish ahead of those guys. So I think Tech and Waity playing it very, very smart. Obviously, Waity probably had to pit anyway, but those two playing it very, very smart onto mediums. That means they won't have to go on to hards again, because I believe none of them started on the mediums. I know Waity didn't anyway. So they can just run 2 sets of mediums to the end and no problem at all. They'll have to do a 2-stop anyway as well. Whereas if you started on the mediums, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. But there we go. I think it was Tet that started on mediums, actually, so he's probably screwed. But I'll double check in just a minute. But yeah. Not a bad move from Waity, I gotta say, with what tyre he's picked. So that could be a bold strategy for him.
Yeah, definitely could work out in their favour, being that they're only 7th and 8th on these fresh medium compound tyres. That could work quite nicely for them. Casper and Matter were the two that started on medium compound tyres. Casper stayed out. Matter pitted in for the hard compound tyres. But I don't think Matter's going to get those hard tyres to the end of the race anyway. It'll be a bold strategy call if he does. So, but I mean, it's worth a shot, trying something a little bit different since the field is a little smaller today. So yeah, Tech 31 and Waitsy, like you say, we were both commentating on that race, weren't we? That went really well for those that pitted very early for the medium compound tyres, and that is a great opportunity for Tech 31 and Waitsy. They're both spun in the early phases of the race. They were out of the train of cars. They're right back in it again, and if they've got 2 sets of mediums, which they should do, they can easily do another stop on these medium compound tyres, and of course they will be on the faster tyre for the early part of this race, so that could work quite nicely. As Casper is into the pit lane now a lap later, so he is in, and I'm sure that's going to be for a set of hard compound tyres, and he will potentially try and go to the end of the race, but again, I don't quite think the hard tyres are going to make it that far into the race. This track is pretty difficult on tyres as it is, so they will, if they do get to the end of the race, they'll be incredibly slow. So we'll see what Casper and Matter can do on those hard compound tyres. It may be a case of they just have to kind of sit in the train and wait and conserve their tyres as much as possible.
Hards last 21 laps around here, but not optimally 21 laps. Optimally around about 19, 20 laps, and we've got 23 laps to go of this United States Grand Prix. So it's going to be a bit of a touch and go for Casper, but he's going to leave his strategy and options open by pitting when he did as well, because he'll have one more means to use if he wishes. Say if another safety car comes out at around about lap 16, I would say. So I think that could be good for him, but for now he's going to struggle getting his tyres up to temperature. But the race is not over for Casper without any stretch of the imagination. Obviously, shame for GMAT to lose it. I'm just trying to think, has GMAT retired this season? Yes, he has, round number 6. So he's only had 1 DNF to his name. I can't remember what round number 6 was. That was Portugal. Ah, yes, I remember that one. That was quite cool, to be honest, but it happens. But he hasn't scored any other DNFs after that, so, and he scored points in those races, so it shows he's getting there and improving, but you're going to have to wait the final race to score more points. Safety car should be in, I think, this lap. It's not going to be that long before Casper catches up anyway. Make sure you do leave us a like on this video, hit subscribe and turn those notifications on if you are new, and also follow us on Twitter at VSL_F1. That's our same handle on Instagram, and join our Discord as well. Plenty of things going on, some great post-season activity going on after the season is finished as well. More information can be found on our Twitter. Will the safety car come in? Doesn't look like it. It does come out late sometimes, but it would have come in by now.
Casper's deliberately holding back. That's why the safety car is not coming in. I'm on board with Casper at the moment, and he is on maybe 20% throttle, coasting behind the safety car. I think he wants the safety car to stay out another lap because he wants the hards to keep going. Or
what's he doing?
He's into the pits again. I'm not quite sure what Casper's doing. And he's sped. He somehow sped into the pit lane from the back of the field. So, yeah, that's not going to help Casper's case at all. If he's going back onto a set of medium compound tyres, he is. That, to me, makes absolutely no sense at all, because there's no way those mediums are going to get to the end of the race, and he'll have to pit again for hards anyway. So
all softs later on. Exactly,
yeah. So why not stay out on the set of hards and not pit again? Yeah, I'm completely baffled by that strategy call from Casper, and he's given himself a 5-second penalty to boot as well. So when he does have to pit in again, he's going to have an incredibly slow pit stop, and it's going to cost him places anyway.
And it's going to take a while for him to warm up as well. So whoever the McLaren strategy boys are for Casper, I think you should be out of a job, not going to lie, because the strategy is rubbish at the moment. But, what's happened to Cam? He was second, and now he's fifth. Has he spun? I think so.
Yeah, must have spun at some point under the safety car. Oh, my word. People making mistakes under the safety car now. This is not looking great.
You're not George Russell, Cam. Shush.
He's managed to keep it out of the wall, so he's not quite as bad as George Russell. But yeah, that was not ideal for Cam at all. Having gained all of those places at the start, having started on the back row of the grid, making his way all the way up to second, and now he's going to have to do all the work again.
I would like to see how he made that mistake, but you can't make mistakes like that, because you could have had a perfect chance to fight with your teammate with Twisted, and you could have had a chance to win the title, but no. Safety car is in this lap, so we're going to watch Twisted lead the field away. Look at last week's race winner, P2 at the moment. We thought we would have seen those two battle last week for the win, but Twisted made so many mistakes. But I think we're going to get something that we've been dreaming of last week, and we're going to get it here today. Ewan as well, who's had some shockingly bad performances, but has some really good performances as well. It's kind of been like a roller coaster for him. So the top three should have a nice masterclass at the moment, as I don't know why I can't hear anything at the moment. There we go. That's probably better. Anyway, for some reason my volume decided to go all to 0% on my Windows. That's probably why I couldn't hear my Elgato. Anyway, green flag racing, and Twisted is pulling away like normal, but Finley is still touching distance at the moment, as Waitsy has had a bit of an off in the background, so him taking advantage of those medium compound tyres did not work at all. We'll see what Tech can do on those mediums very, very soon, but gap already to Twisted and Finley is around about 0.4 of a second. Ewan about 0.4 as well. Cameron's had a not too bad restart, but imagine what restart he would have got if he didn't spin. But he seemed to keep the car under control as well. Most people kept it on the island as well. It was just, I think, Waitsy that had a bit of a spin.
Yeah, unfortunate for Waitsy. He's not looked comfortable since the start of the race, which is kind of bizarre considering he had such a strong quality performance. Why he's struggling so much in the race is a little bit bizarre. But yeah, he's down to 8th position on those medium compound tyres, so that strategy already has taken another blow, sadly, for the Alfa Romeo driver. Casper as well has not had a great restart. He is 1.4 seconds behind Tet 31, but Tet 31 right up behind Cam, thinking about a move. Can he think about a move? Not quite close enough. Cam at the same time thinking about a move down the inside of Mata into the corner, but not close enough to get the move done on the Ferrari. So Cam stays behind for the time being in P5, and Tet 31 on those medium compound tyres, if he wants to make the strategy work, has got to start making overtakes pretty soon. Is he going to think about a move down the inside of Cam here? No, again, not close enough. He sticks behind for the time being. And based on what we've seen in the early paces of this race, the gap in pace between the hards and the mediums doesn't actually look that big. The Casper, apart from the great start he had, Casper didn't look all that fast on the medium compound tyres, and neither did Mata. So maybe the medium compound tyres aren't that good of a race tyre here. As Cam has a big snap of oversteer out the penultimate corner in set 31. Has to completely back out of it to not hit the back of the Williams, but they both get away with it as they cross the line once again. It is fast as that for Casper at the back of the field. Twisted is leading this race, but interestingly, Finley's keeping up. Finley is right on the back of our race leader. He is keeping up. Finley wants another win here. He's trying to keep as close as he can to our championship leader. Maybe he's looking for a second win in a row.
That safety car has helped him wonders because he didn't start, I believe, P2 on the grid. It was weighted. No. So, yeah, I think sometimes you got to have luck, but you can't have luck without the skill. And Finley definitely does have the skill. And Finley is also another driver that's had on and off this season as well. No DNS to his name, though. Obviously, he missed a few races, but no DNS to his name. He scored points in every single race he took part in. That, to me, is like a strong season. I think it's his best season in VSL before we've had it a long time. So I think Finley is improving season after season. And we'll see what we could do in this race. No DRS activated yet. It will be activated on lap number 9. Finley, I believe... I'm trying to think. He needs, I think, 11 or 12 more points to jump GMAC in this race. So he will, I think, if I get my notes correctly, because I did have the points, he will need to finish, ideally, 5th or higher in order to outscore GMAC, which it is possible due to a low grid. At the moment, he's 2nd, so he will jump GMAC and will get in at the top 9. He could jump Kieran in the standings as well. But on to lap number 9 now. Dewan's struggling with DRS because obviously he's out in the tow. But I'm intrigued to see if Finley can get past Twisted very soon, or is he going to wait patiently until it stops?
I think he's probably going to wait patiently. I think Finley knows that raw speed-wise, Twisted is definitely the faster of the two drivers at the moment. So I think it'd be better for Finley to just latch onto the back of Twisted, let Twisted pull him along a bit, and gap the rest of the field so he can kind of solidify a great second place finish. And then if the opportunity comes for a win, he can take the win. So yeah, sitting pretty for the time being at the moment. By the way, Casper's into the pit lane after a spin. He hit the wall, so he's back onto that set of hard compound tyres that he just pitted off of.
Yeah, I am baffled again with Casper because I think it's his 3rd or 4th stop in this race. But I think there might be methods to his madness. He's probably hoping that those tyres can get to the end of the race, but he's already used a set of mediums. But he's got a mediums that have hit probably have gone for a heat cycle already, so maybe he could use it to his advantage later on in the race as well. He hasn't got enough fresh tyres to use in the race, to be honest, but never say never if you're Casper. Finley had the DRS, by the way, on Twisted, but he wasn't able to get past him anyway, but he's a lot closer this lap. You can tell, I think, Finley has got a bit more cornering speed. He's running a lot more higher downforce to be fully planted in the corners, which I have to say, a bit perplexed by, but I think you would want a more stable setup in the S's anyway, but you want to have a low downforce setup in the way for the straight. So it's hard to compromise as to what setup you want, because you'll either lose time on the straights or the corners. You've got to, I think, lose time on a bit of both to be balanced in both. But Twist and Finley stays ahead now. Meanwhile, Cam goes for a move on Matt, but more successfully this time, as Tech also got past Matt. Cam is up to 4th in this race. He's doing what he needs to do if he wants to keep his title alive, but he's obviously seeing Twisted in front, so that's not going to help matters anyway. Only person not in this train is Casper, who's 31 seconds down the road, but he's made a stop. Top 4 haven't made their stops yet, but everyone else below have pitted so far. But there's certain drivers that will need to pit again and do one more stop. I mean, I've been impressed with Finley, not going to lie. We'll see what he can do here. He's not going to use his ERS, I don't think. He's just going to be very patient. Use that DRS to tow you along with Twisted to close out even more time before the pit stop. And then once you before you pit, that's when you go for a move. And that was very close there as well.
Yeah, very close there as well. And that move from Cam into turn 1, nice move there. Mata defended to the inside line. Cam still stuck to the inside line and got the track position, but Mata made kind of the same mistake that unfortunately GMAT did earlier on in taking a shallow line into the corner, braking very late, and because he's done that... Oh, Cam has made a mistake. I don't know if he's been hit or whether he's spun, but he's spun at turn 16, and he's dropped back down to 7th again. That puts Tet 31 up into 4th, but Cam around again, back down to 7th position. As soon as he climbs back up the field, he seems to drop back down again. It's not looking good so far for Cam tonight. He's not had a lot of luck, so all that work again that he was doing on that restart has been undone, and he's back down to 7th place. But as I was saying about Mata, yeah, he braked really shallow on a shallow line really late, and because he did that, he missed the apex of the corner, and he was turning for the corner maybe 20 metres beyond the apex, and because of that, got such a bad run off of the corner that Tet 31 was able to just drive past him before they got to turn 2, which is why Tet 31 was up into 5th, and now 4th, now that Cam has got down to 7th place. I didn't see if that was contact between Cam and Tet 31. They were quite close together, or whether that was just Cam spinning on his own, but I'm sure we'll find out about that one very soon as Casper picks up another time penalty, this time the first track limits time penalty that we've seen of the race.
Yeah, surprised we haven't seen any more yet, but expect a lot of drivers to be on, I think, 2 warnings for a lot of this race as well, and it's about how they avoid more warnings in the future as well. We got, I think, Waity and Mata fighting in the background. I think a lot of people are within 4/10 of each other, but just can't get the move done yet as well. They are seen following their lines as Cam's out the race. Cam is out the race. Forecourt's yellow, and because Cam is out the race, we have a new champion, and it is Twisted, but he won't be champion officially until we cross the line on lap 28. But Cam could do no more. Twisted is your Tier 1 champion for Season 10.
Yeah, that's a bit of an anticlimax, isn't it? Unfortunately for Casper, but for Cam, sorry. But yeah, Cam out of the race there. Really weird position to retire on the circuit. I don't know if there was contact or what happened, but that was midway down the back straight that he retired. So I'm kind of perplexed as to what happened there. There are marks on the circuit, so he's obviously hit the wall. I don't see if he hit the wall on purpose or whether he was spun into the wall by another car, but yeah, Cam out of the race. That is the championship over and done with. Twisted now doesn't even need to finish this race. His points gap is big enough as it is going into the final round to still be champion, even if he doesn't finish the race now. So the pressure is completely off Twisted now for the rest of this race. He has got no pressure in this race. He can do what he needs to do and wants to do now for the rest of this one. Everybody into the pit lane on that lap as well, apart from Mata. Mata staying out on his hard compound tyres, but if I were him, I probably would have pitted back onto that fresh set of mediums that he does still have left in his back pocket. He's not done that. Everybody else has. They're all in for a set of medium compound tyres. I'm sure Casper... No, never mind. Casper's run out of mediums. I forget that. Casper's run out of medium compound tyres, so he's going to have to stay out on his hard compound tyres. He stays out. He's down in 7th place. So everybody in for a set of mediums. Mata, I fear, is going to be a bit of a sitting duck here on this restart, and I think the rest of this race is going to be defined on how quickly Twisted can get past Mata and how quickly Finley can follow suit.
Well, to be honest, if Twisted can't do it, I know Finley will definitely capitalise and try and get past both Twisted and Mata, but Twisted has got nothing to lose at this point, so he's going to be like, fair game, you know. If you get past me, fair play, I want to fight with him, you know, and obviously there's other people fighting for a higher position in the championship as well, so every point means... Well, every position means more points, and don't forget there's also fastest lap as well, which currently belongs to Casper, down in 7th position. So maybe later on he's got some sauce on his back pocket, he can come in and set the fastest lap for all its glory. But there'll probably be more people trying to take advantage of that as well if they're not winning a good shot. By the way, this is the lowest turnout I've seen where we've had like safety cars of this nature. It just shows how much crashing can happen in United States and how often it can cause safety cars. In Monaco last week, no safety cars. We had it on standard and or increased. I can't remember which one it was. And yeah, still no safety cars, which I find a little bit odd. But yeah, it happens. We're waiting for Casper to catch up as well. We're Twisted now, knowing that the championship is pretty much over and he sealed it. Is he going to be ambitious with the strategy, or is he going to still do all he can to win this race?
I think realistically for Twisted, I don't think he's going to have to be ambitious, I think, to win this race. I think he's still in a great spot to win this one, is Twisted. I think he's not going to take any risks. He doesn't need to. this championship is now sewn up for him. So I'm sure he's just going to think about bringing it home and not having to worry too much about it. So I think once he's through on Mata, I don't think he's going to fight too hard if Finley wants to take the win. But at the same time, if he can build a gap on Finn, then he will go for it. So we'll see what Twisted does. But either way, I think he's obviously pretty set where he is at the moment. He'll be pretty happy with what he does. And yeah, like you're saying, 2 safety cars in a race with only 9 people just kind of proves that the Circuit of the Americas is a very difficult track to master. It's a difficult circuit, and if you do go off, the circuit can bite you quite hard. There's a lot of runoff in places, but in other places there's not a lot of runoff. And GMAC and Cam both found that out in the worst ways, unfortunately for both of them. So yeah, both of them out of the race, but it's not uncommon to see safety cars at the Circuit of the Americas. We see them a lot. So yeah, bit of a shame that they're out of this race and they can't continue on, but we've still got 7 people left in this race, and we've got half a race to go when we cross the line, so we'll see what these drivers can do. By the way, Casper pitted again, I think for the 4th time in this race, if I'm not mistaken, and he's back onto the slightly used set of medium compound tyres he used before he pitted again under the first safety car. So they've not done a full racing lap yet, have these medium tyres that Casper is on, so we'll see what kind of pace he's got and whether the wear is going to be that much worse than anybody in front of him. But by no means is Casper's race over yet either. He's got a 3-second time penalty that he's got to serve at the end of the race for the track limits, but everybody else has also got at least 1 warning in this race. So yeah, there's still plenty of other drivers that could pick up a track limits penalty. And once again, Casper is backing off from the safety car, but this time around it's not worked.
Yeah, because pretty much the safety car's been around for quite a long time. So Casper's tactics, unfortunately, not working. But safety car coming in this lap. Mata is going to have a really hard task on his shoulders. But, you know, he's always performed miracles before. He has been a VSL champion many moons ago. He's won so many championships that I can count. Obviously, he won't be champion tonight, but he's going to do all he can to defend for his life. He's going to be like Sergio Perez when he's on older tyres, but Sergio Perez's defensive moves, I have to say, are pretty good. So can he replicate that tonight? We're almost halfway into this race. Thank you guys for sticking with us, by the way. Make sure you do leave us a like on this video if you are liking this content. We'll see when Mata goes. Once he floors it, you can't change your speed, but with less drivers, they're going to still go at it anyway. And this could be... Oh, this is going to be a Magellan. It was almost a Magellan restart, the way this was going, but it wasn't. Mata leads, but Twisted going to try and go the long way around in towards turn number 1, but Mata holds his line ever so slightly, but you can tell the traction that Twisted has got on those mediums compared to Mata's hards, and Mata's already down into last place. So... yeah, I think he just got swamped by everybody there in turn 1, and he decided to back off. But pretty much every other order pretty much stays as it is. Twisted and Finley in the top 2. Ewan in third. Well, he's not going to be third anymore as he spun in the S's. And Waitsy, after all the trouble he's had in this race, he's up to 3rd.
Yeah, all of a sudden back up to 3rd again. Everybody keeps spinning away from in front of him, but here comes Tet 31 down the inside. He's going to get the move done and then try and block on the exit of the corner. He had to slow down a little bit on the apex of the corner as well to make sure that he actually made the corner there. So that back Waitsy up, and that's ruined Waitsy's run onto the back straight. Tet 31 then is up into 3rd position. He works his way forwards. Can he close in on the 2 leaders who have once again on this restart completely obliterated the rest of the field and have dropped them out of the DRS range already? So Finley once again sticking right to the back of the race leader here. They're not pushing too hard. They've got plenty of ERS in their back pocket. But you've got to say, after a lackluster qualifying, at this point in the race, Finley's looking like the faster car in race trim, isn't he? He's looking really good in race trim. The car looks planted. He doesn't seem to be all over the place. Twisted's car does look a little bit lively at the rear. It's not planted to the road. So he's maybe not able to push as much as Finley is because of the lack of confidence in the car. So maybe while Finley was struggling in qualifying for outright speed, in the race at least, the car looks very easy to drive. And for a circuit like the Circuit of the Americas, where tyre wear and tyre temperatures are very crucial to your performance, that is kind of what you need. You need a car that you can trust, and that's definitely something Finley seems to have at this point in the race.
Well, I do have some information about Cam, by the way. His AI, for some weird reason, took complete control of his car and put him in a wall. So, yeah. It's on Twitter anyway, if you want to have a look. It's NZL_Cam on Twitter if you want to have a look after the race. But, yeah, it didn't look good at all. Very weird glitch on the game, to be honest. To do it mid-race, but yeah, a shame for him. So that was an incident that was not his fault, and yeah, strange things that happened. Clouds are starting to darken a little bit, so that strongly suggests that we could have an overcast bit of the race, or we could see rain. Meanwhile, Waitsy tries to go down the inside into turn 12, and he does, and keeps the line from Tech 31 Racing in third position. No penalties to their name yet. Waitsy being very, very quick, by the way, in the middle part of the lap, from the S's all the way down into turn 12. So looking quite planted on the corners, it looks like, but you need to have some speed on the straight as well. And I have to say, looking at the gaps as well, quite a lot of the field is spread out. We've got Matto, who's about 4 seconds behind Casper. We've got Druin behind him. We've got Waitsy, who's 3 seconds behind Finley, and we've got Tep behind him as well. Twisted sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Oh, come on, Twisted. You're just showing off at this point.
Yeah, he's trying to take everything away from this championship, isn't he? He's not letting anybody have a slice of the pie at the moment. He's having a brilliant run. But yeah, Finley's still keeping quite nicely in touch with him at the moment and keeping within DRS range, which is a crucial bit. And because of that, they are away now of this fight for third. It's Waitsy is currently in the lead of Tech 31 right there. Casper's got decent pace on his tyres. Finley gets a 3-second time penalty for a track limits. That's the next one. But luckily for him, because he's been able to keep up with Twisted and use the DRS, he's got the 3-second gap on the battle for third already. So not too bad right there. As further back, Casper's kind of starting to get ready to run up a move, I think, here on Tech 31, who's just struggling a little bit on those medium compound tyres. Casper, whose tyres are a bit older. Oh, there you can see Tech 31 gets a real snap of oversteer on the traction coming out of the corner. Casper gets a better run, but Tech 31's got a better car in a straight line, and he's going to breeze back past the McLaren down the straight. Casper decides not to fight it in a straight line, but I think that move for Casper is more of a case of when and not if, because Tech 31 seems to be really struggling. As further down, speaking of struggling, Druin after that spin has already repassed Matter. So Matter on those hard compound tyres has no pace at this point in the race and has just dropped back to 7th position. So I think at this point, Matter's definitely regretting his decision to stay out. Yeah,
he definitely has, hasn't he? But I think we've had 2 safety cars already. What does it mean that we could have another one? My senses, it didn't make sense, but it's not impossible to have another safety car because we could see some more crashes. But without that, I think he's probably going to have to go on softs later on to really salvage some more points. If I was him, maybe do pit for softs, try and go fastest lap, because you'll get more points by doing that than staying out at the moment. Because look at the gap that he's losing to Druin at the moment. So he's just probably waiting for the prime. Twisted's got a penalty as well. So Finley is probably going to be very relieved about that, because both him and Twisted have got penalties now. And with Waitsy in the picture, if we get a safety car,
yeah,
we could see the likes of Waitsy, Tech, Ewan or Matter win this race. And I wonder what Waitsy's thinking. You can see, I think, Finley and Twisted penalties around him. He's got to push now. He's got to find 9/10 of a second on these guys, which is easier said than done.
Yeah, definitely easier said than done. He's got to find a lot of time, but yeah, I think a late safety car will obviously be what Waitsy, I think, is looking for at this point of the race. I think on raw speed, Waitsy doesn't have it. Another person that doesn't have it is Casper for some reason. Casper right behind Tech 31. Tech 31 didn't get DRS that time around, but I don't think Casper used his DRS at all down that straight to pass the AlphaTauri, which I'm a little bit perplexed by. And if he did open it, he gained nothing in a straight line. So he's either not opened his DRS at all, B, his DRS is not working, or C, he has got so much downforce on that car that the car is incredibly slow in a straight line. But by the fact that he's not able to keep right behind Tech 31 in the corners, I don't think he's got a high downforce setup on. So either Casper chose not to run his DRS on that back straight, or the DRS isn't working. We'll see down the pit straight now. He has got access to it, and he's opened it. So by the looks of things, Casper just decided not to open his DRS on that back straight, which I find a little bit bizarre because he had an easy opportunity to overtake the AlphaTauri.
Yeah. Again, a bit perplexed by quite a lot of things that these drivers have done this race, but with less drivers, probably they're taking it a little bit too cautious because they don't want to be another driver that goes out of this race with 11 laps to go, as Waitsy is increasing the gap. It's a bit of a shame there as well, but to be honest, he'll probably take third if he stays where he is at this moment in time. Race, I have to say, has gone a little bit too quiet now. They're all pretty much in their own bubble. Tech and Casper are pretty much the only ones on a battle right now as well. Tech and Casper has been, I think, through a little bit of the wars at some point at VSL. I almost said another league there. But there's been other leagues I've been sorting out this week. I said another league a few weeks ago in the intro, but there we go. It happens at the end of the day. It's because there's not much going on. With the clouds darkening a little bit, do you think it's going to rain?
Definitely potential. I was thinking about that. The cloud cover has come over quite quickly, so there could potentially be some rain in this race. I'm not sure if we're going to get any or not, but if we do, that could definitely throw a spanner into the works. We could have a lot of people struggle maybe at the end in the wet conditions. We'll see, but yeah, I think the last thing these drivers want now is a bit of wet weather to throw into jeopardy. As Mata picks up a 3-second time penalty now down in 7th, but that's not going to affect his race at all at the moment. So yeah, definitely we'll throw another spanner in the works if we do get some wet weather in this race. That'll be very, very interesting. But yeah, I'm kind of perplexed now by Finley, because he was able to keep up with Twisted really well at the start of the stint, and now all of a sudden he's dropped to nearly 3 seconds behind. So whether Twisted was just backing off a little bit and not pushing at the start of the stint, or whether Finley is starting to overheat and struggle on those tyres, I'm not sure. But on board with Finley. Speaking of Finley, he's dropped the car. He has spun the car through turn number 9. Full 360. He's got going again. I think he's just going to stay ahead of Waitsy on the road. No, he's not. Waitsy's going to have to pass him off the track, though. Waitsy may get an illegal overtake for that, potentially, on the Alpine. There may be a 5-second penalty coming Waitsy's way as he comes off of the corner. And there we go. Waitsy's going to let him back through. So Waitsy lets Finley back through, back up into second position. But yeah, unfortunate for Finley, that spin. And here comes Waitsy again, back at him in a straight line. It's going to go to the inside line. That Alfa Romeo has not got DRS, and he's passing Finley, who does have DRS, down the straight. That Alfa Romeo is fast in a straight line, and Waitsy is through and up into second position. So Waitsy now, after a horror show at the start of the race, is back up to where he was. And at the moment, his only battle really for that second place is with Tet 31, who's been struggling on those tyres.
Yeah, so he's got, I think, more of a buffer between those guys now, so he probably have a bit more of an advantage. But Finley is still... Oh, Finley! Ooh. Finley almost had enough. How on earth did he say that? Tech 31 Racing got ahead of him, and Casper almost got it as well. Maybe he's running too much tyre pressure at the moment, because we've seen it on medium tyres around here. People that forget to change their tyre pressure to put it all the way to the left. They're fine at the start. They're very quick at the start of their stint. But towards the end of the stint, they keep spinning everywhere. And yeah, do not run high tyre pressures in USA. I tried that once and it was awful. So don't do it, because you're going to be like Finley, who was running in a comfortable second place for all of the race at VSL. And now he's at the back again, in 4th place. But on a normal day, 4th place will be a good result for him. But due to the fact that we only have 9 drivers, 4 would probably be not cutting it for him. He would have rather got 2nd or 3rd or in the race at the moment. But look at the gap, by the way, between Twisted and Waitsy right now. 10.2 seconds. It'll be more than that due to Waitsy's penalty. We've seen how the weather can change things quite drastically here in the Circuit of the Americas. As Casper not using his ERS to go from moving to turn 12. So again, he's being a bit more patient at this stage. I think those are the ones we're going to watch out for, is Tech, Finley and Casper. And Tech is technically still on the back of Waitsy as well, with 9 laps to go of this race. Not that long to go before we get to crown a champion officially. He does get a moment. We're not just going to say what we said earlier. He is going to get a proper moment. So, yeah, any Twisted fans, you're going to wait for another 8 laps to get your moment. But lap 21 and 28 now. And the gap between Tech and Waitsy is 0.5 of a second. But Tech's got to be careful he doesn't get any penalties either.
Yeah, Tech's got to be careful he doesn't get any penalties. And, of course, he's had a few incidents this season. So if he's going to go for this move for second place, he's got to make sure that he makes it a clean move and doesn't have any issues with the Alfa Romeo driver. So he's got to keep it clean. But I think one of only a few drivers that haven't finished on the podium so far this season. So great opportunity here for the pair of them to pick up that first podium that they've been looking for a long time. And currently they both are on the podium, because the 2 drivers directly behind them on the road have penalties and won't pass them anyway. So yeah, good battles for them so far. Finley and Casper definitely look faster, but they can't seem to get the moves done at the moment. Finley in the train can't get the move done, and neither can Casper. Waitsy's car is incredibly fast in a straight line. For a car with no DRS, Tech 31 can barely close in on him in a straight line, so Waits' car is going to be difficult to overtake here. So that low downforce setup seems to be working. Another driver to keep an eye out for, though, in this race is Juan. After his early spin, he is starting to slowly close back in on this training front, and the more this training front start fighting for position, the better that is for Juan, because he's the only other driver in this field that doesn't have a penalty, so he's got plenty of opportunities here to still pick up potentially a P4 finish in this race.
P4, I don't think you would imagine that after the spins he has had this race. I think same with the likes of Tech as well, that could be on for third or even second at this race. So it's important not to take risk with obviously a lot of drivers not here tonight. And if you do take risks and it doesn't pay off, then you could lose big time to the one people who have gained quite a few positions as well. But yeah, I think Ewan is just going to play it safe at this point. Hope for everyone else to make a mistake, and that could potentially reap rewards. As Finley, by the way, suddenly has found a bit more pace on Tech 31 racing, probably because the track temperatures have probably got a bit cooler. He's right on the gearbox of Tech 31 as he heads towards turn 7, 8 and 9. Here he comes then. He was almost going to try and go for a brave move. He definitely does have the straight line speed for it here. Heading towards turn number 10 to the left-hand side, clips that left apex. Is it going to be a move of dreams for Finley? Tech's still going to go side by side, going through this back straight of turn 11. We've got, I think, Casper backing off, just in case anything troublistic happens. But Tech 31 Racing is now ahead of Finley, up to third place. Finley is dropping way down the field now, and Tech could technically chase after Waitsy now. But anything could happen in Formula 1 as a commentator. Oh, Finley's going to go for the switchback. Finley's going to go for the switchback on turn 15 and 16. I did not see that coming at the moment. They're banging wheels at the moment, heading towards the Istanbul part of the circuit. Trying to go down the left-hand side through here. Final few corners. Finley gets another chance as well through the start-finish straight. He's got the speed, but hasn't got the ERS. We'll see what he can do. He's definitely got the power as well. Let's see what straight line speed he has coming up the hill then. It's going to be, I think, around about 180 miles an hour almost, but that was very, very close between the two of them. Good racing.
Yeah, good racing between the two of them, but on board with Finley there. That Alpha Tauri of Tech 31 in front is fast in a straight line. Finley's obviously got a lot more downforce on that Alpine. The Alpha Tauri has less downforce on it. He's obviously slower in this part of the lap, but he has got a great car in a straight line. So yeah, Tech 31 here doing all he needs to do to try and stay ahead of Finley, but of course Tech doesn't need to fight it too hard because Finley does have a penalty. But round 2 here, potentially Finley looking again for potentially a move into turn 11, not quite close enough. But here comes Casper behind, almost thinking about a move on the Alpine, but again not quite close enough on the exit of the corner. Bad exit from the corner from Tech 31, but you'll just see the AlphaTauri pull away in a straight line now.
Yeah, I have to say, I think Finley's already losing a lot of ground because look at Casper. Casper's also in this fight as well. Tech's pulling away and Finley has no response. Casper, out of all people, is up to 4th, but Finley's going to try and do the switchback of dreams once again. He likes that move, doesn't he, heading through 15 and 16. Is he going to do it now? Nope, he's not. Not much space at all. But yeah, Finley's car is not designed with straight lines, whereas Casper's and Tech's definitely are. So that's why he's struggling a little bit, which is a bit of a shame. But as we are on lap 24 of 28 now, a few more laps to go for the end of this race then. Don't forget the final race of the season is next week, where we head to Brazil for the sprint race, and top 8 will score points in that one, and then normal 50% race to end the season there as well, one-shot qualifying as well. And you can see Finley, I think, yeah, definitely has got the speed for the corners, it looks like. So high downforce for him. Not a track where you expect to run high downforce, but Finley's setup has definitely been compromised there. And Tech 31, let's see what progress he's making on Waitsy. They've got the same amount of ERS as well, so it could be down to low downforce versus high downforce, like you were saying as well. So let us know your thoughts in the chat. And Twisted again, because that's squabbling. 14 seconds. Amazing.
Yep. Amazing race, yeah. 14 seconds in the lead now is Twisted. He's just clearing off into the distance as he has done all season. Just incredibly consistent driving, no mistakes, keeping it out of harm's way and out of trouble. And as everybody else squabbles, he pulls off into the distance. That's just kind of been the story of his season. It's been a brilliant season for Twisted, and again, just great performance here tonight. So not a surprise to see him dominating out front, but this battle for second still hotting up at all as well. Tech 31 still on the back of Waitsy. Waitsy's not got a lot of ERS left in that Alfa Romeo, so if Tech 31 can get close enough to the back of the Alfa Romeo, he can go for a move here. So these two are definitely still in this proper fight at the moment for the final spot on the podium. And as I mentioned earlier on, as they fight, Juwan's just creeping that little bit closer. The gap is now only 4.1 seconds to Finley, so Finley's only got a second buffer before he's potentially losing another place and dropping out of the top 5.
Yeah, you don't want that at this stage, because obviously top 5 is more points than the likes of 6 and 7, and it goes incrementally down as well. And I don't think we are going to get a safety car at this point of the race, so that window is pretty much closed unless someone potentially bins it on this lap. But we have seen races where it's been called with 1 lap to go before. Haven't seen it much on this game though. I've never raced it if that's the case, so I hope it doesn't happen at all. But the sun is starting to peek out even more, so the threat of rain has happened. It's not going to happen anymore. So the game was lying to us, unfortunately. But yeah, I wish the game could tell us, like, a little radar or something like that to know rain is coming, or we can ask the weatherman, but not going to happen anyway. So Casper's derating. I think Tech's derating a little bit as well. And we literally got a 4-way fight for P2. Well, technically 2, because Casper and Vinny have got penalties. But and Juwan is on this fight as well, because don't forget, is anyone on 6 seconds? Casper is. Yellow flag.
Finley. Oh.
Every time I speak about Finley, he spins.
Yeah, we've both done the same. As soon as I was on board with him talking about him, and he spun right as I was talking about him. So, yeah, from what was looking really promising, Finley looking like a solid second place finish on the cards, it's completely fallen away, sadly, for the Alpine. But yeah, by the looks of it, just pushing too hard, overheating the tyres. And once you spin once, it's hard to recover on these compounds of tyres. It's hard to get the temperature back down. So, yeah, Finley down to 6th, Juwan up to 5th, back into the top 5 then after a rough race for that AlphaTauri driver as well. So he'll be hoping Casper drops off a little bit more on his slightly older tyres, and he can get within that 3-second range and potentially get a top 4 result and make it a 3-4 at the moment, at least for AlphaTauri. But still, Tech 31 has an opportunity to take the second place. He's kind of been sat about 5-6 tenths behind the Alfa Romeo for the past 10 laps or so. He just can't seem to get any closer than that. Waitsy's got enough pace in the corners, but also without DRS, enough pace in a straight line to hold the AlphaTauri back, as here comes Casper again with the more downforce in the first part of the second set to close again. But look at the gap the AlphaTauri pulls on the run to 11, and then Casper outbreaks himself for the corner, so that's not going to help him at all. And you will just watch the Waitsy and the Tech 31 just both pull away from Casper in a straight line here. It started off at 6 tenths at the start of the straight, and look at the gap just growing. It's up to 8 tenths already. It's going to make that 9 tenths before they hit the braking zone. It's actually crosses a second when he gets to the end of the straight, and that is Casper with DRS. So Tech 31's the best part of 4 tenths faster down the back straight than Casper is, even with Casper in DRS range.
Yeah, I think it's a shame for Casper that he's lost all that time, but maybe his tyre life is pretty much gone on the edge of a cliff, because, to be honest, Casper pitted on 3-lap-old mediums, whereas everyone else was on fresher mediums, so that's probably why he's struggling a bit more than the likes of Tech and Waitsy. But yeah, penultimate lap of this race. Still more chances for Casper to close in. You can see cornering speed is okay, but at the straights is definitely not his forte at the moment. But anyone could make a mistake around here. Let's hope none of them do, but let's see if we can get an interesting fight for this final few moments of this race. And we got Casper, who is currently sitting P6 in the championship. Juwan, who's 3.5 seconds behind, who's going to jump him anyway. They're joint on point, so Juwan is going to jump Casper in the championship. We've got Finley in 10th. Well, he's not going to jump, I think, GMAC this race, even though GMAC has DNF'd. Tech 31 Racer Crow sitting 16th in the championship. Can jump up a little bit as well, but Tech and Waitsy, there may still be warnings that we do not know of as well, so they've got to keep an eye on that. Sun is less blinding right now as we head towards this back straight. Tech derating again. Casper derating again. So is Waity. So they're all struggling with ERS. So the low downforce is going to be very, very key in a straight line for these final few moments. Twisted, by the way, is about to start the final lap of this race, and he's moments away of being crowned champion for the first time. And if I was him, he could cruise it if he wants to, but I don't think he's going to do so.
No, definitely he's not going to do so. He's going to bring it home safely. But yeah, again, another brilliant performance from Twisted to round off what's been an incredible season for the Williams driver. And yeah, a fully deserved title from the outset. It did look like from the outset that Cam had the pace to win this title. He looked faster than Twisted, but Twisted has had so much consistency all season long. He's either finished, when he's not retired, he's either finished first or second pretty much this entire season, barring the previous race. So yeah, Twisted's had an incredible season, and as it stands right now, a fully deserving champion. As further down the field, this battle for second totting up, Tech 31 all of a sudden right on the back of Waitsy on the Alfa Romeo. So Tech 31 now has an opportunity to try and steal the second place away from Waitsy on the final lap of the race. I'm sure Waitsy's going to try his best to hold on to the spot as much as possible. He'll want that second place for his best result of the season so far. But Tech 31 also wants that result as we've got a yellow flag. That is Casper. Casper has spun on the final lap out of fourth, and Doohan officially is now fourth, but he didn't have to worry about the penalties. The two drivers that did have penalties have spun from in front of him, so Doohan up to fourth. Finley gets his second penalty of the race, and onto the back straight they go. And again, Tech 31 can't get the power down coming out of the hairpin, and because of that, too far back on the straight. Waitsy's got it covered.
Yeah, I think Tech's lost a bit of time through there, but you could see it's good gaining the speed on the corners, but when they're straight, you're not going to get anywhere. But let's go on board with the man who has looked like that he was going to be a formidable force all season long. He has been one of the rookies. He's got a lot of podiums, a few DNFs, but that didn't affect him too much. Twisted wins in Texas, and he's replicated what Lewis Hamilton has done before. He wins the title in Texas. He is your VSL Tier 1 champion for Season 10. We've had 10 seasons in VSL, and Twisted is our, well, not our 10th driver, but he's a 10th addition to the champions. Waitsy, by the way, is in P2.
Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff from Waitsy. Brilliant race. Best race of the season for Waitsy this season. Yeah, obviously struggled in the early phases of that race with that early spin, but was able to recover nicely, picked up second place. Tech 31 as well. Here's probably his best race of the season as well for Tech 31. Fairly clean throughout, and yeah, brilliant performance from him. Picks up his first podium of the season as well. So while we did have a lack of drivers, what it has meant is we've got 2 new drivers on the podium and 2 new drivers to add to the list.
Yeah, that's always great to see. We always like underdog stories, and Waitsy, I have to say, was struggling all season long. Even though he's scored 63 points, he could have scored a lot more. He's been unlucky with DNFs as well. Hungary, where he was in a good position, but he got unlucky with a few drivers, I think, having some incidents with him. But despite that spin, that just shows that you do not give up, and I think I'm going to have loads of messages from him at the end of the race going, yes! I would like to see his reaction after that, but yeah. He's a champion on the podium, just like many champions that have come before as well. He does need to turn up in the final race, but the gap has increased, obviously, due to Cam's DNF. And I wonder if he could do it all over again next season when we get head to the new game.
Yeah, definitely potential for that to happen when you head to the new game, to see if they can repeat that. By the sounds of it, there's not going to be that much difference between this game and the next game in terms of handling model and all that kind of stuff. So those that have enjoyed this game will probably enjoy the next game, and if that is the case, Twisted will likely go from strength to strength, as will many other drivers in this field, you would assume. There's a lot of people there that made mistakes today but have had good pace this season. It's a shame GMAC retired so early. Would have been nice to see what he could have done in this race. He had great pace in qualifying. Finley had great pace as well, but obviously the mistakes at the end crept in. So there's a lot of drivers with some good potential here that didn't get the best result tonight, but have got a lot of potential going forwards.
So run through your order then. We've got Twisted that wins from first on the grid to winning the race. Was not troubled at all. Waitsy in second. He had to work for it, even though it's 1-2 on paper. He did have to work for it. Tech in third from ninth on the grid. Doohan in fourth. Casper fifth. Finley sixth. And Mata, by the way, takes the fastest lap after putting on to soft. So he was going to do what I thought he was going to do and pit. So he's got more points than intended. So there we go. And your DNFers, like I was saying earlier, Cam and GMAT, then both of them caused two of the safety cars we saw today. So I have to say, obviously with Twisted being one of my driver of the day, I have to say obviously Waitsy being one of them as well, and Tech as well. That was a lot better race showing, I think, than I've seen in previous races, I think. There was a few times where it was a bit sketchy, but from the majority of it, it was very respectful.
Yeah, the majority of it definitely looked very respectful. We didn't really notice anything on our end that looked off kilter for him. So, yeah, decent for him, a decent race. So I'm sure he'll be happy with that one, and it's something to kind of mellow out what's been a difficult season for him.
Yeah, so not much to talk about going into the final round. Obviously, we've got the Brazil sprint race next week. No championships on the line. We've got, obviously, Twisted, your driver's champion, and Williams, your constructor's champions. But there could be runners-up positions being decided, some midfield positions being decided. Hopefully, we'll have more drivers next week, please. That will be amazing to end the final race with a bang. But from myself and Adi, we'll see you next week. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.